Hello. My name is Shirley Zeller, and I am co-president of the League of Women Voters Jackson area. I welcome you to our online 2020 candidate forum featuring candidates for the Jackson County Board of Commission District 9. These candidates will be on the ballot in the November 3 general election. This year, the League is celebrating 100 years of expanding voter rights, educating voters, and shaping and influencing legislation at local, state, and national levels. The League is a national, nonpartisan, civic, non-political organization that encourages informed and active participation by all citizens in government. This works to increase understanding of major public policy issues and seeks to strengthen and broaden knowledge about our form of government and democracy. While the League does not support any candidates or parties, we do take issues on stands that we have studied. One of the League's most important roles is to assist voters in making informed choices at the polls, and thus we bring you this candidate forum. Recordings of this event, whether they be in person or of a computer screen, may not be used without the express written approval of the League. The League will only allow audio video of this event to be broadcast in its entirety, except by the media reporting on the event. Our moderator tonight is Diane Gutenkopf, who will explain the format and get us started. Diane? You're muted.
Thank you, Ms. Zeller. I'm Diane Gutenkopf, and it's my honor now to introduce the candidates for Jackson County Commission District 9, Ms. Davita Quinn and Mr. Ray Snell. Thank you very much for participating in the candidate forum. I'm going to review the basics of the format. Each of you will have 1 minute to make your opening and 1 minute for closing statements. Candidates will speak only of themselves and their ideas and are asked not to make disparaging remarks about their opponents. Time will be kept by a member of the League of Women Voters Jackson area. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. You will be alerted by a sound with 15 seconds remaining, and then again when your 1 minute is ended. You'll be allowed to finish your sentence, but are expected to stop at that point. As moderator, I will interrupt candidates who exceed the time limit. The order of the open and closing statements will be alternated. Questions will be alternated as well, and we'll start alphabetically. The questions that I will ask you have been obtained from members of the community prior to this candidate forum. And again, I'll ask you to mute yourselves if you're not the person answering the question. I'll also repeat questions if you need me to repeat them in between. Ms. Quinn, you'll be the first. I just want to remind people that candidates have not been given the forum questions ahead of time. However, the League has informed each candidate that the first question used will be their introduction, and they were provided with the following guidelines. Please take 1 minute to introduce yourself to your intended constituency, explain your reasons for running for this office, your background, and how it will help this community. Ms. Quinn?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Davita Quinn, and thank you for having me on this evening. I am excited to run for the County Commissioner of Blackman Township. This is my 3rd time running for this office, and I continue to run so that I can make a positive change in this community. I continue to do the hard work of volunteering, giving back to the community so that our younger generation can see somebody out working every day to help the community. As a trusted advisor for the County of Jackson, I am on the ground floor every day, ensuring that our community is fed, that people have housing, the basic needs that are needed for this community goes above everything else right now. During this COVID-19 time, we have seen the struggles of all families, and I am working every day to ensure that those family needs are met. Why choose me? Because I am the best candidate. I say that because I have leadership ability. I have worked in this community for 10 years as the chemist for the wastewater treatment plant. And I understand about business. I understand about tax breaks. I understand about how to make this county grow. I would love to have that opportunity to sit and serve you for the next 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. Mr. Snell? Oh, I think you're still muted.
There we go. Okay. Hi, I'm Ray Snell, and I'm running for County Commission in the 9th District. There are many reasons I'm running to serve the district that I care about and have lived and worked in for over 31 years. I'm prepared to spend the time to do the homework needed to be an effective commissioner. I've already been reading the packets that are posted online and following the Zoom meetings. We know these are challenging times for the county, and I have the experience needed to work through these changes. I have strong budgetary and personnel management skills developed over 37 years in business and sales management. I currently work for Exit First. I was elected Blackman Township Clerk in 2000 and Township Supervisor in 2004, where I developed teams that worked through our issues with the city. And additionally, I helped create an automatic mutual aid program for fire departments in Summit, Jackson, Leone, and Blackman. I was a board member with United Way for 7 years, the last as chairman. I was selected to be a member of the JCC Community Action Committee. I worked well with others to achieve the goals that we set. I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. Mr. Snell, you'll be first on the next question. And remember, please mute yourselves in between. Here's the question. COVID-19, economic uncertainty, and increased unemployment are a few of the multiple issues that have highlighted the disproportionate burdens shouldered by the poor, the elderly, and the communities of color. These present challenges to government at all levels concerning economic opportunities, housing, safety, and public health. What do you see as the major impacts these upheavals will have on the agenda of the County Commission in the next 2 years? And what solutions might you bring to the table? Mr. Snell?
Okay, well, that's quite a question. COVID-19, obviously, it's a serious issue. I have a couple friends that have died from this, or friends of friends who have died of this. I know people who have died. And I'm going to focus mostly on the housing issue because the government has said to some people, you don't have to pay your rent or your mortgage payment for 3 months. And some of these people have thought that that means they never have to pay it. They're going to have to pay it at some time. It's going to have to be caught up. Housing, we've seen in the city a lot of housing that's been torn down over the last few years. Substandard housing in a lot of cases. And we've seen some apartments be built in the city area. So what can county government do? Well, for the most part, we can direct and we can direct the Community Action Agency to do what they can to help people find the resources that they have.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. Ms. Quinn?
Could you repeat the question?
What do you see as the major impacts these upheavals will have on the agenda of the County Commission in the next 2 years, and what solutions might you bring to the table?
Thank you. In the last 6 months, I have worked on the ground level with several organizations to make sure that the children, the senior citizens, and everyone in need in this community had food and shelter. On a daily basis, I work with those families, going from hotels to motels, on the streets, behind buildings, feeding people every day, taking the resources that I have from Partial to Girls, from United Way, from Community Action Agency, just making sure that the basic needs are met. In this community, we have a lack of housing. We have a lack of several things that we need to focus on. And I plan on making sure that the county, at the county level, that we can work to ensure that those things are done by budgeting for those items.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. You'll be first on the next question. In your opinion, is the county doing enough to address climate change? If no, what ideas do you have to do more? Ms. Quinn?
Thank you. Climate change. You're talking my game here. As an environmentalist, we have seen over the years everything that affects climate change, all the pollution that's put in the air by car emissions, things that we as individuals, we put into the garbage that goes to the landfill that helps increase all of the emissions. Garbage just do not dispose of itself. We have to do something effectively about it. We have to work with our manufacturers, and we have to ensure that anything that comes up and out of their stacks are within the limits of air emissions from the state of Michigan and the government. We also have to work with those individuals and make sure that they understand. We have smart zones here, especially here in Jackson County and Black specifically. And I would like to see us work with these smart zones to ensure that they understand about the emissions program and work with the various communities and work with also the DEQ Eagle to ensure that those things are in place. They do not know. They do not know what they have to inform them.
I think we might be having a little trouble with the timer because I didn't hear a single ding. You're supposed to hear a single ding when you have 15 seconds left and a double ding at the end. And I'm not always hearing both sounds. So I'll try to do my best to give you a hand signal at 15 seconds, if that would be helpful.
That would be helpful.
Mr. Snell, you have 1 minute to answer that question.
Okay, climate change. Well, the county can do some things, but most of the issues that we have with climate change and how to deal with it are addressed by the Eagle Department of the state of Michigan, EPA. You know, and the Smart Zone, I'll take credit for creating that because I did when it was created in Blackman Township on my watch. When people are building in there like Chemtall and Techniques, they have to use the latest up-to-date pollution control systems in there. And they are inspected. So what else can we do? One of the best things we did do years ago was get rid of the incinerator. The incinerator just put a lot of heavy metal and stuff into the air. So the county, I think, is doing what it can. Right now it's tough with the budget, and I will stop there.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. You'll be first on this question. Police violence, particularly against persons of color and protesters, has become a regular feature in the national news. Jackson County has not escaped notice in this area. Are there reform efforts that Jackson Police should consider to ensure that all residents can have confidence in the even-handedness and integrity of law enforcement in the country? Mr. Snell?
If you could repeat the first part of that question, that'd be good.
Police violence, particularly against persons of color and protesters, has become a regular feature on the national news. Jackson County has not escaped notice in this area.
Okay. Well, I don't think anybody is happy about police brutality against anyone. And especially, I think, I don't know anybody who wasn't appalled and shaken up about what happened to George Floyd. And it was just unnecessary. The police and the public safety officers, sheriff's deputies all need to be trained on how to de-escalate situations and then to use appropriate measures when that doesn't work. We cannot indiscriminately shoot people for one reason or another. I know at times they may think it's justified, but it sure doesn't look good on TV when we're watching it, and we need to do better.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. Ms. Quinn?
Thank you. I too understand the hardship of African Americans and the violence and the brutality that we face. Of course, I am an African American woman, and I have children who have to live in this world, in this county, and it's just uncalled for. I think the disparities that we face every day as African Americans is all based on really, you don't understand the person that you're dealing with. I was talking with just the chief about community policing, getting back so that the people in the community know the people who oversee them every day. I believe that community policing works, and I think it needs to go back to that so that we can have that, build that trust back. We have to have some transparency in the law and who is going to affect, and that knowing that my children are going to come home at night.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. Ms. Quinn, you'll be first on this question. Commissioners are elected from separate districts, but are responsible for decisions that affect the entire county. In recognition of your dual responsibilities, what will your approach be when there are conflicts between your local and county-wide constituencies?
Thank you. Anytime that you have to deal with the public, you have to be able to communicate and listen to the constituents. You have to be able to sit on the board and hear what the board has to say as a whole as well. You have to come to some type of agreement so that all parties can be served better. My constituents here, if I am elected in Blackman Township, I will listen to them. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to be transparent as a board member. I want to make sure that everything that is needed is taken care of right up front. I don't want any backdoor dealings. I don't want any sidebars. I want to fight and make sure that everyone understands what's needed in order to do my job.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. I want to make sure the timekeeper gets to reset this so that you have your full minute, Mr. Snell. I think we're good to go. You may answer the question.
Sure. The constituency we serve is kind of the whole county, but the elected people, or the people who elect us, are Blackman Township people who live here. And if you are not looking out after the interests of your community that you live in, Blackman Township, you're not going to get reelected. And that's why it's so important to be able to communicate when you have a difference of opinion. You know, I know the board members at the township, know many of them, and I'll have close contact with them. They have close contact with the people in the community too. My plan is to hold coffee hours with constituents so I can talk to them. But at the end of the day, you know, sometimes you'll have to vote that in a way that your constituents that put you in office don't make you happy, or don't make them happy, because you have to look at the greater good.
Thank you. I'm afraid we might have lost our timekeeper. So if you'll just give me a second, I'm going to try this again and set my phone on a minute just to make sure that we're all good to go. All right. Mr. Snell, this question is to you first. It has been standard practice that government entities such as the County of Jackson, keep all proceeds of foreclosure sales, no matter the actual tax amount owned by the homeowner. A recent Michigan court decision found that government may not profit from the sale of foreclosed homes. How should the county implement this decision, and how should the county treasurer's office be funded? You have 1 minute.
Well, as you know, I'm a realtor, and that's one of the things that we've been talking about. I don't think it's fair that somebody who loses their house for whatever reason doesn't get any money out of that when the government seizes that property and sells it for more than what the debt is. That happens a lot. The county treasurer's department should not be enriched by the hardship of other people. I'm not sure that we should be having foreclosure sales at 2 years. I think 3 years may be better. Working with people who are about to lose their home so that they can get onto payment plans and that. As far as how the treasurer's department would be funded, I am not sure how you do that without the money, but we'd have to take a look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. Ms. Quinn?
I too agree that the county should not profit off the backs of hardworking people who have fallen into hard times. I've seen it. I've been in many council meetings talking about all of the money that the county keeps and makes off of the loss of an individual. We have to do better. We have to find some other means to make up for that loss, but it cannot be off the backs of our senior citizens. I had a lady who lost her home, and we fought, and we went to the city, we went to the county trying to buy back her house, and we could not buy back her property. And it was the worst thing. She had lived in her house for 56 years. We have to find a way to stop all of the foreclosures immediately.
The time's up sign. Thank you. You will be first of the next question. The Jackson County Commission passed a resolution on February 18th, 2020, declaring Jackson County to be a Second Amendment refuge county. Can you explain what that means for Jackson and what is your reaction to this? Ms. Quinn?
Thank you. I was in the room that night, and it was terrible. It was terrible. For the county commissioners of this county to go along with a group of individuals to turn this city into a sanctuary city. I don't promote gun violence. I don't promote anything that is against what the other constituents wanted. They did not listen to the people who was at the meeting. They turned off the mics. They were very rude, and I do not agree with it. Now, if someone wants to bear arms, that's perfectly fine. But to bear arms in public buildings like at the Capitol, I say not. This city did not have to go that route. For what good did it do? I still don't know what good it did. But they went along with a whole room full of other people and created this. Just appalled.
Thank you. Give me a second to set this because I think we've got a couple of timers going here. Okay, Mr. Snell, you have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll say that I love the Second Amendment. I think that's what the founding fathers envisioned, is that we would be able to take care of ourselves. Was there a need to pass that resolution? I'm not one to pass legislation or resolutions that don't have any bearing on anybody's lives. I didn't see how this impacted anybody positively or negatively. I thought it was more of a ceremonial, let's pat ourselves on the back kind of resolution. And that happens in local government. Resolutions happen all the time that really don't have any impact. I don't see how that would have, I don't see how that impacted Jackson County at all, whether there's more gun violence or less, one way or another, I don't know. Thank you.
All right, thanks. I'm going to get off with you, but thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm going to remind people that if you've come in out of the meeting, you may have inadvertently been unmuted, and I'm going to remind the candidates to mute yourselves in between. Actually, this is our final question. Mr. Snell, you'll be the first respondent. And the question is, the city of Jackson recently passed a resolution declaring racism a public health crisis, as have the governor and several surrounding counties, including Washtenaw, Ingham, and Kalamazoo. The Jackson County Commissioners recently failed to pass such a resolution. Can you explain what that means for Jackson, and what is your reaction to this? Mr. Snell?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of debate about that issue. I can see where the impact of systemic racism has impacted how the health is handled with the African American community. I can see, you know, with my work on United Way, we talked about things like that, not just a few years ago, but 10 years ago, we were talking about things like this. What impact, again, does the county not passing that resolution? I don't know if it really does. I know the city did pass a resolution. You know, I would be interested in looking at a resolution and acknowledging some parts of that, maybe not all of it. I really haven't been able to get my hands on a copy of that. I've asked a county commissioner to get me a copy of it, and I've not been able to.
Thank you. Ms. Quint, you have 1 minute to answer the same question. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. We have worked very hard to try to communicate and work together in this community. And the county commissioners failing to go along with the resolution that was on the floor by Commissioner Daniel Mahoney was not correct. They had went behind him to create themselves a resolution, not even wanting to give him any credit for one that he brought to the table. And I believe that that commission is very divided. It's very divided, and the tensions was very high. I was at that meeting, and I believe that we need to have some type of resolution that shows the people that you are with them, that you are for them, that you understand their struggles, and you're working to make a difference with them.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. Thank you to both of the candidates. And now I will ask you to give your closing statement, and you will each have 1 minute. Mr. Snell, you go first with closing statements.
Thank you for holding this forum. I know how difficult it is in the age of COVID-19, but you still took the time to do this, and it's good for everybody to hear not only the differences between the candidates, but some of the things that we agree on. So I do feel that I am the best candidate with my experience in government, things I've done in government and United Way. We did Neighbors in Need when we had a meltdown of the economy, where we got really to the point where we could help anybody with just about anything, including getting firewood for somebody who heated their home with wood. You know, so I look at not just the macro picture, but the micro picture too, and how things that we do impact the lives of all of our residents here in Blackman, in Blackman Township and Jackson County.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. I'll give the timekeeper a second to reset. Ms. Quinn, unmute yourself and you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I am looking for your support on November the 3rd. I want to be able to work to make a difference in this community, promote job growth, invest in the infrastructure, and be fiscally responsible and transparent about what a county commissioner do. As I've knocked the doors, many doors in the last 3 years and all of this year, I still hear the same thing. What is a county commissioner? I don't know who my county commissioner is. What is it that you do? And I explained to them what it was we do and how we make a difference. As I've been out working all this year, ensuring that babies get diapers and wipes, during the pandemic, knocking doors, dropping off bags to the doors, making sure that people at the shelters get food, making sure that senior citizens get ramps that they need built on their homes, working in Blackman Township to make a difference. Every week, every day, I'm on the ground floor, and I am asking for your vote on November the 3rd. Vote Quinn.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. Your time's up. Thank you. This concludes our candidate forum, and I'd like to thank the candidates for their participation in this valuable process. Now it's my pleasure to turn this back over to Shirley Zeller for some closing comments. Shirley?
Thank you, Diane. The League wishes to thank the candidates for participating in this candidate forum and to thank those who contributed questions. All of our candidate forums will be available for streaming on your computer or your smartphone, and this forum will not be edited in any way. Go to our website, lwvjackson.org, and look for the link to the forum. In addition, the forums can be found at vote411.org. Please urge your friends and fellow voters to watch these forums. We encourage you to call one of the Jackson District Library branches or call on one of them to make arrangements to pick up a print copy of the 2020 LWV Voter Guide. You can also stop by Windsor Dry Cleaners on Morrell at Brown Street to pick up a copy. We will be distributing them to other sites in the Jackson area as well. They'll be available beginning next week. For additional nonpartisan information on federal, state, and local candidates and ballot issues, go to vote411.org. This is the League of Women Voters online resource guide covering local, state, and federal candidates and current proposals that will appear on your ballot. With the passage of Proposal 3 in 2018, all Michigan voters are eligible to cast an absentee ballot. If you're planning to vote by absentee ballot, be sure that you return it as soon as possible. You can take your ballot directly to your clerk's office or your precinct or district. If you're not sure where your clerk's office is, call your city or township office. They will be able to direct you to the correct place. You must take the ballot to the correct clerk's office. Many now have drop boxes at their location for absentee ballots. If you're planning to mail it in, be sure that you include the correct amount of postage stamps and mail it in early. In addition, while voters are encouraged to register ahead of time, Michigan law now provides for same-day voter registration and voting. Remember, no matter if you vote in person or by absentee ballot, make sure you vote in the November election. Again, thank you.